Always use your own discernment when listening. These general readings are not a one-size-fits-all. Ultimately, you are the final say, so take what applies and leave the rest. With that being said, let's get started. Hi there, pal number one. Welcome or welcome back. So I feel like you are in some pretty confusing energy that's difficult to navigate. It could be very emotional. And of course, when we're going through moments like this, we don't know if we're doing it right. We don't know if we'll make it out. We ask ourselves, how much longer are we going to stay in this energy? And in some cases, we can spiral down and get off track. Whatever you're doing, it's not a mistake. You may be overthinking it, or you need to tweak something up. It's hard for a reason, and maybe there's something that you need to see here. Maybe there's a problem that you need to solve. And by you solving this problem, you may help other people going through similar things. And Spirit is encouraging you not to give up on yourself, on this problem, and to make plans and focus. And when you hit a brick wall, just know that you'll be spiritually assisted. You're just learning to have the wisdom behind the problem itself. And sometimes it's not a straight path. But regardless, you're going to make it out of this energy. And a particular story is coming to mind of my own daughter. She brought home math homework that had some pretty tough word problems. My daughter struggles in the area of comprehension, so word problems are very hard for her. And after struggling that night, both of us gave up. I told her it wasn't worth the stress, and quite frankly, we walked away from it. But Spirit came through and guided me to a resource tailored for her grade, and so I bought it. And that weekend we sat down and we worked through it, and she figured it out. But we couldn't do it based off of the instructions that we got from the school, nor could we figure out a different path from the internet. But a resource that was placed in my lap that was tailored to her specific needs was given to me. And had I completely given up on the project, we wouldn't have had a solution. And so I feel this is what's happening for you. You're being asked to go about it a different way. You're going the right direction. And yes, it's confusing. Yes, it's hard. But when one way doesn't work, find another way. And allow yourself to move through this energy of working hard, not giving up, so that you too can have the resources for somebody else. I'm being taken to this card here. It says double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So for many of you in this pile, you are learning something that you can take with you and help someone else. But that also means you have to go through similar hardships. So embrace this path. It's not easy, but I know you'll find a way. Look for the signs, look for the synchronicities, and don't get hung up on energies that keep you confused, that make you feel like giving up. I really don't feel like you're supposed to give up in this particular read. Sometimes there's wisdom to giving up because you know that's not your path. And other times, not giving up allows you to find a solution and allows you to have expertise in an area that somebody else might need later. So you're being encouraged to clear the mind right now of any emotions that are holding you back, even if it is walking away from it temporarily. So many people go on a diet and they fail, but if they keep trying, something's going to click. They just have to get back up and do it again. And not the same way, but a different way, a more productive way, until you find something that clicks for you. So that is all I have for you, pal number one. I hope this resonated with you. And if it did, I will catch you in the next video. Bye. Always use your own discernment when listening. These general readings are not a one-size-fits-all. Ultimately, you are the final say, so take what applies and leave the rest. With that being said, let's get started. Well, number two, welcome or welcome back. So I see an energy here, and it's not a pleasant energy. And I also have a story coming through. So majority of this read will probably be based around this story. This next season, or this current season in your life, is going to be a very radical change for you. for you, your household, and change is hard, especially when we have old habits that are not serving us that we may have been participating in for decades. And when we go through this change, sometimes it's spirit induced because we weren't seeing it as we were participating in these behaviors. And so life had to come in and break down the foundation to build a new one. Now this change is going to require you to get grounded and stable. For many of you that are highly sensitive to your environment, you may need to make extra effort to go out in nature, take salt baths, do something that you love to help balance out this transition. However, that doesn't mean that this transition needs to be ignored, because I do feel a very big seriousness, a very big shift that needs to happen in your life. And this shift is going to take you to your happiness. Even if everything is falling apart right now, you are safe and you're going to be given every resource that you need to get through this. But right now, what I see is someone that's in the current energy of the Knight of Wands, and they are walking into the Queen of Swords by the end of this phase. The action behind the change that is going to lead you to a better lifestyle, a better pattern, that fire energy. But you're also going to be gathering the wisdom of the King of Swords to back up this lifestyle change. This phase is going to be painful, and this phase is going to bring up old patterns within yourself, as well as patterns that could be embedded into your family. But regardless, you are supported during this time. And if you don't see where this is taking you, by the end of this, you're going to understand why you had to go through this. So I have a friend, and this person came up to me when their life was falling apart. It was a financial battle. There were a lot of lies around finances. It was ruining their marriage. It was ruining their happiness. There was a lot of unhealthy habits between their marriage. And I knew intuitively that Spirit was putting everything out on the table for them to look at so that they can rebuild their foundation in a healthier manner. But at the time, they couldn't see it because they were losing their home. They were downsizing. They didn't know where they were going to live. And eventually, they were moving into a home that they didn't like. And to top it all off, they had a child that was on the spectrum. And this family found a really nice school that was going to support this child, because that had been a struggle in their life. And as far as I'm aware, that child had to be pulled out of that district and put into a new district. This person did come to me for support, but this person was also embarrassed to tell me their whole story. And that's understandable. There was a lot of shame and guilt and things that they had to see. And at the time, this person didn't want to see it, but they were forced by the universe to see it. And this person just was not ready to share it with me. And that was perfectly fine. In my past, I too have been taken advantage of when it comes to finances. I gave freely, only to have a set group keep coming back to me, asking for more. And it turned me into a person that didn't want to give because I felt taken advantage of. And so I entered a phase where I didn't give to anybody. I was reserving my energy for myself. And when this person entered my life, I had a very strong need to want to give to this person. But I've seen this pattern before. And this is where wisdom comes in. Because had I given them the money to get through that month, I would have robbed them the opportunity to learn for themselves. So instead, I gave a resource. After talking to them, they told me that they did not know where to start. And the first thing that I told them was to release the emotions, not at each other, but understand that this is a painful process. And if you have to go scream into a pillow, If you have to sit in a corner and cry, then allow that to happen. Don't suppress it. And when you feel that void of emptiness, pat yourself off and say that you're going to get through this. This too shall pass. Then I told them that you need to create a budget. And first and foremost, you need to make sure that your 4 walls are protected. And that's food, utilities, transportation, shelter. And allow the rest of the budget to fall in place. And then I told them I will buy them a resource. And it doesn't mean that you have to take everything from this resource. You have to do what's best for you and your family. When I followed this resource for myself, it's the Dave Ramsey program. Our family did not take the notion of the cash envelope wallets. And the idea behind this system is for you to visually see that there's an exchange of money happening when you go to the store, and visually seeing that there's a dwindle of money. And a lot of people need that visual representation. However, I found that when I budgeted through the app, I got that same motivation, that same dwindling of money in certain categories that gave me the willpower to not spend in a particular area. So it's so important that when you dive into a program like this, that you're open to the information that's there, but don't be afraid to tailor it to your family. And I told them that this person may not align to your religious beliefs, your political beliefs, but when it comes to budgeting, he's got very solid information that could help you on your journey. So I gifted them the program for 1 year, and they had access to all his information as well as his app. Now, 2 years later, they have paid off their debt. Their marriage is rock solid. They have recently just purchased their own home. Their financial income is better because they strived for better. And they have welcomed another child into their life. And had they not went through this tower moment, they would not be living the life that they were living now. They turned their life around in 2 years' time. And they look back at that moment and they think, I don't want to do that again. And so that's motivation for them to not go back into that hole. And there was a lot of wisdom gained in this situation. Not only that, but they are at the happiest point in their lives that they didn't even know was possible because of how much pressure financial struggle put on them. So whatever the case it is for you, just know that you are being stripped away and stripped down to create a better foundation for you going forward. It may not be directly related to finances, but from what I'm seeing, there's a behavior here that Spirit is trying to show you a better path to. And you're going to be supported through this process, even if you can't see what's on the other side. So stay grounded. Make sure you're taking time for yourself and releasing any emotions that are coming up at this time, and making darn sure that you're pulling yourself back up and reminding yourself that this will pass too, and keep moving forward. So that is all I have for you, pile number 2. I hope this resonated with you, and if it did, I will catch you in the next video. Bye. Always use your own discernment when listening. These general readings are not a one-size-fits-all. Ultimately, you are the final say, so take what applies and leave the rest. With that being said, let's get started. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome or welcome back. So the information that I'm receiving for this pile that Spirit wishes for me to share is going to be controversial. I have been told recently by Spirit that with time, Spirit is going to bring people to my channel that have opposing views to my beliefs and to the tarot community in general. And so I know that a lot of this stuff can be new and hard, and it just doesn't resonate, and that is okay. Some of the things that are coming through in this pile are not meant for you at this time. So it's important to just take or leave what resonates in this pile. And so the bigger picture here is that you may be watching a loved one go down a particular path, and you may want to try to stop this loved one from going down this path. Maybe because you have experienced it yourself, or you have a fear of them walking this path for whatever reason. For many of you, this is a parent guiding a child, and for some of you, it is a spouse, a partner, a family member, a close friend. And some of you may resonate with this that are considered to be Blu-ray souls. And from what I understand is before we come here, there are particular paths that we were meant to follow. And Blu-ray souls pick some of the hardest lives to walk into. They're born into families that are very hard to be born into. And so these souls are equipped for this challenge, and they are highly spiritual, even if they haven't tapped into their spiritual side yet. And a lot of times when we walk this path, it's when we tap into that spiritual side. But if this resonates with you, just know that this particular soul, no matter if they are Blu-ray or not, or whatever it is that you believe in, they are strong enough to get through this challenge. And not to take them off this path, there is something that they need to see here. And I know it's hard to watch a loved one struggle. Sometimes it's hard to watch our own children make the same mistakes that we did. But these particular souls came here to do it differently, to come out better, to come out stronger, and to help others going through the same thing. But they can't do that if they are stopped. And for you watching this soul go through this, it's going to be healing for you too, because it's going to give you the opportunity to see the bigger picture, to release any negativity that you had towards this situation, this experience, and it's going to allow you to accelerate on your own healing journey, even if it takes a little while for it to come to fruition. It doesn't hurt to ask for spirit to protect them at this time and to make sure that they see a very clear path forward through the turbulent energies. They are learning to be graceful through the hardest of times and learning how to balance their life moving forward. This timeline for them is awakening a truly powerful soul, and it's going to bring healing to them, it's going to bring healing to you, and it's going to bring healing to those that they come across. But they need the wisdom here. They need the experience here. This doesn't mean not to support them. There's a reminder here to make known of the red flags that you see in this situation, but ultimately allow their soul to walk them in and out of the situation, carrying the red flags with them. Because even if they don't hear it now, when things start getting turbulent, they'll start to see it very quickly and move out of this energy. And for some of you, when they come out of this energy, be their support system. This is not about an I told you so. This is just giving them the nurturing that they need and understanding if it ends up being an I told you so type of situation, it's going to be very damaging to their mind. It's going to allow them to not want to be vulnerable and to respect that as they go through the healing process. And for others of you, you may find that this soul has managed to pull out in a different way, and it will allow you to see a bigger picture as everything unfolds. And ultimately, the goal is to make sure that it doesn't get passed down in the family, because chances are this is something that they may have witnessed growing up. And if it is something that they have witnessed growing up, sometimes the universe gives us an experience to help us release those emotions, to help us find a more empowered version of ourselves. But I feel here that this particular group, whoever it is that you're watching, is very divinely protected at this time. And to trust that if your own intuition brought you here and spirit led you here, that you needed to hear this message. Spirit is building them up to be a master in a particular area in life. and it's going to serve them well later on down the road. So allow this to unfold as they walk this stormy path and postpone the resistance and postpone stopping them, but definitely make sure they go into this battle with the information that you have learned firsthand and allow them to make the choice that's best for them. But I think it's really important for you to note here that any action that you force upon this person as they make a choice that their soul came here to do, to be careful of how you try to persuade this situation, because the idea is to make sure that when they come out of this situation is that they have a strong support system that's not going to belittle them and that's going to help them and respect them and understand them, that this transition goes as smoothly and supported as possible. So I'm going to assume that if you are guided here by spirit, by your own intuition, that you needed to hear this message. And that doesn't mean to push yourself out of the picture, but to be open to what life is trying to show you at this time, and hope that you find the answers that you need that are in yours and this person's highest good. So that is all I have for you, pawn number 3. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. And I'm sending you so much love during this difficult time. Bye. Always use your own discernment when listening. These general readings are not a one-size-fits-all. Ultimately, you are the final say, so take what applies and leave the rest. With that being said, let's get started. Hey there, pal number 4. Welcome or welcome back. So the energy that I am seeing for you is ancestral healing. Now, depending on where you are in this cycle will depend on whether or not you're going to see this reading before you walk into it or while you're in the process of going through it. And for some of you, it's going to be better to stumble upon this reading when you're going through the current energies. And for others of you, you know what you have to do, and you're being asked to step into this energy by spirit. And a small percentage of you is having realizations of what just happened. And I'm getting for some of you, this is going to happen in 2 parts. There's going to be a realization at the beginning of this journey, and then there's going to be a realization in the middle of the journey. And to know that what you're clearing here is ancestral. It was a path that you needed to see. It's about learning where you came from, what kind of patterns are in your family, and then doing it differently. You came here to shed an old skin, not only for you, but your family as well. And you're being asked to just stay on top of the energy for now. You are being supported. And what you take from this is going to be a huge part of your abundance, your prosperity, what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled. Now, when it comes to ancestral healing, a lot of times there's a lot of social stigma attached to these kind of situations, and you may have to go against your environment. And so anyone that is not going to support you on this path, this particular phase that's going to bring you a lot of rewards, anyone that's going to put a stop to it is being removed from your life at this time. You're being heavily guided and protected by your ancestors, and it'd be wise to consult with them, because many of them have went down this path and they're guiding you through these energies because maybe they wished that they could have done it in their lifetime. And the guidance and the information that you receive from them while you walk through these energies are going to be helpful. Just make sure that when you're connecting to your ancestors or praying to your ancestors, that you're asking for your highest good. This is not a time to give to others. This is a time to make sure that you are giving to yourself and doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. So don't allow other energies in your life to take from you at this time, because you're going to need all the energy that you need to get through this. Many of you that are energy clearers are going to be clearing it for your ancestral line. So this may be even more intense for you because not only are you clearing your emotions, but your ancestors as well. A lot of times when we go through these situations, difficult things do happen. When I went through my ancestral clearing, it was absolutely awful because it dealt with spiritual warfare. It dealt with breaking down of my own family. I was losing my support system. And when everything started, I was guided heavily through it. But here's the thing, when I went through those energies, nothing was comfortable. Nothing went in my favor. And when I asked Spirit to pull me out of these energies, I was told no. I was told not to run away from the energies, but work through the energies. And I was given everything that I needed to get to the other side. And everything that I've learned in that phase, I implement in my everyday life. And I'm so internally grateful that I went through it. Not because it was fun, but I gained something there that has radically shifted my life. And I also gained a part of myself that was more empowered through difficult situations and allowed me to see firsthand how Spirit works in my life, and allowed me to learn how to have faith in myself, first and foremost, and faith in Spirit. And Spirit is coming through very strongly to remind this pile that they're not here to carry you through this energy. Yes, they will give you the breadcrumbs, but this is about learning your own power and what you can do to stay on top of these energies and to move through these energies with your own power, your own strength. It is not about them taking away the pain and suffering, but allowing yourself to know that you have that power within, and their guidance, while it's going to be there to help you show the light at the end of the tunnel on things that you can't see because this is a foggy time. This is heavily relying on your own inner strength and knowing that you also aren't alone as well. It's a balance between both. So that is all I have for you, pile number 4. I hope this resonated with you, and if it did, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye. Always use your own discernment when listening. These general readings are not a one-size-fits-all. Ultimately, you are the final say, so take what applies and leave the rest. With that being said, let's get started. Hi there, pile number 5. Welcome or welcome back. So I see you being moved into a new timeline, and this timeline is going to take time. It's a healing phase for you. It's time to rest because you just came out of some pretty chaotic energy. And in this chaotic energy, you saw a lot of things that you most likely did not want to see, but you came out stronger than ever. For some of you, you're seeing the results of that. And for others of you, you have not seen the results of that because you have to go through the healing phase first. But regardless, it's time for rest. It's time to get out of the fight or flight phenomenon and to put down the fears of what's going to happen next. From what I'm seeing in this pile, this is your gift from Spirit. So if this resonates with you, it's just time to rest and reflect. Now, some of you are on the tail end of this reflection, and some of you are at the very beginning of this reflection. So no matter where you are in this phase, this reading is going to give a bigger picture for you. So the biggest thing that's coming through here is in this previous phase, you had to see something. And the first thing that I'm seeing are with these 2 cards. For those of you from a religious background, this is where you learn how to tell between the devil's voice and God's voice. And those of you that are on different paths, this is about ego and patterns and realizing how they were hindering you and what's actually true about you. It's more of a self-realization phase for you and even where you've come from, your family. But there is someone that's being born in this process, and to allow this person to be born, no matter where you are on your empowerment journey. Now, not everybody in this pile has come out in the same level of difficulty, so you're going to have to take this as this applies. But for some of you that came out of a very harsh reality you're being asked to understand the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And to know that we go through all 5 of these stages in different orders, in different times. And this is taking me to, forgive me if I butcher this, because I'm not exactly sure how it is pronounced, but it's taking me to the Fibonacci spiral, the healing spiral, where we heal in layers and we grow through the healing process. And that healing doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take time to recover. And for some of you, you may have to take part in a specific community that's less general and more specific to your situation, or a resource, a book, a video that can help you through this process. Now, the end game to this phase, and many of you are already there, is to be able to reflect back and gain the wisdom from a higher lens, seeing how this phase transformed you, both the previous and this one. And for those of you at the beginning, there's something here about journaling, because for some, there is a natural human phenomenon that happens when we go through very tense, hectic, traumatic events, and we tend to forget a lot of our experiences and even reshape our memory as time goes on to help us cope with the difficult energies that we just came out of. And part of your path is to remember these emotions of what it was like to go through them later on down the road when you were healed enough to revisit them and create something out of it. So when I asked Spirit, what is going on here with the 4 of Pentacles, Spirit showed me the imagery of another deck. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out for you. Now this is the 4 of Pentacles from the Light Seers deck. And if you see, she is looking back on her past, where she came from, and she's taking the lessons dear with her, and she's moving forward. She's not letting the past hold her back. She's letting her past go and stepping into a new grounded foundation, and she's going to create something out of it. Now, this particular pattern played a part in my life several times. I've gone through this pattern multiple times, and each time I've gone through this pattern, I've taken something new from it. And the first time that I went through this pattern, I was being taught how to walk away. And the second time I revisited this pattern, I was being taught to endure from a place of higher understanding. And the third time I revisited the same pattern, I walked into it with my own strength, knowing that I was walking into it, and had the wisdom to not internalize, to not allow anything to trample all over me, to have compassion for the other person, and find balance between 2 worlds. And each time I revisited this pattern, I took something new out of it. And now here I am creating something out of it. My healing journey through this video and other videos on this channel. And I had no idea when I started this journey 25 years ago that my mind would be where it is today. And one of my biggest challenges when walking through all these energies and other energies that I've experienced in my life was gaining control over the mind and learning to stand on my own 2 feet. And I hope if there's anything that you can take out of this message today, is that you can do the same. And you can take any negative situation. It doesn't mean that you deserved it, but you can take it and turn it into pure wisdom that can help you and others like you moving forward. So that is all I have for you, pile number 5. I hope this helped and resonated with you. And if it did, I will see you in the next video.